You wake up every morning, you look in the mirror, and something feels off. You can't name it. You can't point to it. But something about the person staring back at you has been quietly fading, not all at once, but slowly, silently, day by day. And the terrifying part? You've been doing it to yourself, not on purpose, not with malice, but through habits so ordinary, so deeply woven into your daily routine, that you stopped noticing them entirely. Today that changes. Welcome back to Wisdom of the Stoics, the channel where ancient philosophy meets the battles of modern life. If this is your first time here, welcome. You've arrived at exactly the right moment. And if you've been walking this path with us for a while, you already know what's coming, something that will change the way you see yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with us until the very end. Because what we're going to reveal in this video isn't just about how you look, it's about who you are becoming. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher, emperor who commanded the most powerful empire the ancient world had ever known, once wrote something that most people would never expect from a man of his power. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now, you might be wondering, what does a Roman emperor have to do with your appearance? Everything. Because here is the truth that the Stoics understood 2,000 years ago, and that modern science is only now beginning to confirm. Your appearance is not just about genetics. It is not just about skincare routines or gym memberships or expensive haircuts. Your appearance is the physical signature of how you live. It is the visible projection of your inner world. Every thought you habitually think, every emotion you chronically suppress, every habit you unconsciously repeat, all of it shows up on your face, in your posture, in the way you carry yourself through a room. The Stoics called this the unity of the inner and outer life. What you are inside, you become outside. And today, we are going to expose the 10 silent, invisible destroyers, the things you do or fail to do every single day, that are quietly eroding not just your looks, but your presence, your vitality, and your power. These aren't things you'll find in a beauty magazine. These aren't tips about moisturizer. These are the deep philosophical and physiological truths that the Stoics lived by, and that most people in the modern world have completely abandoned. So let's begin. Silent destroyer number 1, chronic anxiety and the face it carves. Think about the last time you were truly deeply anxious. Not a mild worry, not a passing concern, but that gnawing, relentless, suffocating anxiety that lives in your chest and refuses to leave. Now ask yourself, how long has that been your baseline? How long has worry been your default operating mode? Because here is what the Stoics knew, and what dermatologists and neuroscientists now confirm. Chronic anxiety is one of the most powerful silent destroyers of human appearance that exists. When you are in a state of chronic anxiety, your body floods itself with cortisol. That is your primary stress hormone. And cortisol, at elevated levels sustained over time, does something devastating. It breaks down collagen. Collagen is the protein that keeps your skin firm, elastic, and youthful. When cortisol attacks it, your skin thins. It sags. Fine lines deepen into wrinkles. The face loses its structure, not because you are getting older, but because you are living in a constant state of internal war. But it goes further than skin. Chronic anxiety disrupts your sleep. It suppresses your immune system. It causes inflammation throughout the body, and inflammation is the root cause of almost every visible sign of physical decline. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, betrayal, and the collapse of everything he loved. And yet he wrote, in the quiet pages of his private journal, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." He wasn't dismissing the difficulty of life. He was mastering the response to it. The Stoic practice here is called amor fati, the love of fate. Not passive acceptance, but an active, disciplined refusal to allow what you cannot control to poison the body you live in. Ask yourself tonight, what are you anxious about right now? that 6 months from now you will have forgotten entirely, because your face is keeping score. And anxiety is the pen that carves the lines into it. Silent destroyer number 2. Sleep deprivation, the great accelerator of decay. There is a quiet epidemic destroying the appearance of millions of people at this very moment. Tonight, while the world sleeps, countless people remain awake, endlessly scrolling through glowing screens at 1 or 2 in the morning, believing that just a few more minutes won't matter. Yet those minutes slowly become months, then years, and eventually leave unmistakable marks on the face staring back from the mirror. It is called sleep deprivation. Unlike many invisible habits that damage the body in silence, this one leaves evidence that anyone can see. It steals brightness from the eyes, youth from the skin, energy from the body, and resilience from the mind. More dangerously, it accelerates almost every other form of physical decline. When you sleep deeply, your body enters its most powerful state of restoration. Human growth hormone is released. Damaged skin cells are repaired. Collagen production increases. Cortisol begins to fall. Inflammation decreases. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain clears away metabolic waste, and every organ receives an opportunity to recover from the stress accumulated throughout the day. While your conscious mind rests, your body quietly performs thousands of life-preserving tasks that no supplement, skincare routine, or expensive treatment can ever fully replace. Every healthy morning begins with the invisible work completed during a healthy night. But when you consistently sleep too little, those restorative processes never reach completion. Night after night, your body carries unfinished repairs into the next day. Week after week, stress hormones remain elevated. Month after month, inflammation quietly grows. Eventually, your appearance begins to reveal what your habits have been hiding. Dark circles deepen beneath the eyes. Puffiness refuses to disappear. Fine lines appear earlier than expected. Skin loses its natural glow, becoming dull, dry, and uneven. Your face starts looking permanently exhausted, even after a relaxing weekend. The light that once made you appear vibrant slowly fades. What most people fail to understand is that the damage compounds over time. 2 nights of poor sleep can usually be recovered. 2 years of poor sleep gradually reshape your biology. Hormonal balance changes. Recovery slows. Aging accelerates. The body begins adapting to exhaustion instead of health. And that adaptation quietly becomes your new normal. The ancient Stoics never battled smartphones or endless social media feeds, but they fought something just as dangerous: the illusion that sacrificing rest for constant work was a sign of strength. They understood that discipline was not about endless effort, but about protecting what truly sustains you. Seneca reminded us that wisdom lies in knowing what deserves our energy, not in wasting it without purpose. Sleep is not laziness. It is the foundation upon which strength, beauty, clarity, and resilience are built. Sacrificing it for late-night scrolling, another episode, or meaningless distractions is not ambition disguised as discipline. It is self-destruction disguised as productivity. Tonight, ask yourself one honest question. If you guarded your sleep with the same determination you guard your money, career, reputation, or relationships, how different would your face, your health, and your entire life look 1 year from now? Silent destroyer number 3. Poor posture. The silent signal your body sends to the world. Stand up for a moment. Right now, wherever you are. Stand up and notice how your body is positioned. Are your shoulders rounded forward? Is your chin jutting out toward your screen? Is your spine curved like a question mark? If yes, and for most of you watching, the answer is yes. Your posture is silently destroying your appearance in a way that no skincare routine, no gym session, no hairstyle can fix. Here is something that most people have never been told. Posture is not just a physical position. Posture is communication. It is the silent language your body speaks before you say a single word. And what poor posture says to every person who looks at you is this: I am defeated. I'm tired. I have given up. But the destruction goes deeper than perception. Forward head posture, which affects an estimated 90% of people who use smartphones regularly, places up to 60 pounds of additional pressure on the cervical spine. It compresses the vertebrae. It tightens the muscles of the face and jaw. Over time, it literally reshapes the skeletal structure that your face rests upon. It reduces your height. It makes you appear older. It changes the way you breathe, which reduces oxygen flow to the brain, which affects your cognitive sharpness, your mood, and the aliveness in your eyes. The Stoics placed enormous importance on physical bearing. Epictetus, who was enslaved, who had literally nothing, walked through the world with a dignity that commanded the respect of emperors. He taught, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Your posture is entirely within your power. Every single moment of every single day, you can choose to stand taller, to pull your shoulders back, to lift your chin, to lengthen your spine. This is not vanity. This is the Stoic principle of taking ownership of what you can control. And what you can control, right now, in this exact moment, is how you carry yourself through the world. Silent destroyer number 4. Dehydration, the invisible drought within. Your body is, at its very foundation, water. Not simply influenced by water or dependent upon it, but literally built around it. Roughly 60 to 70% of your body is composed of water. Your blood, your muscles, your brain, your organs, and even the skin that shapes the face you present to the world every single day. Yet millions of people spend their lives functioning in a state of chronic, unnoticed dehydration, never realizing that one of the greatest threats to their appearance and vitality is not age, genetics, or expensive skincare, but something as simple as failing to drink enough water. Unlike dramatic illnesses that announce themselves with obvious symptoms, dehydration often arrives quietly. It begins as a slight lack of energy, a minor headache, or a feeling of fatigue that people blame on work, stress, or lack of motivation. Day after day, the body adapts, but adaptation is not the same as health. Over time, that constant shortage of water begins to reveal itself on the face. The skin loses its natural elasticity and healthy fullness. It appears thinner, rougher, and less vibrant. Fine lines become more noticeable, not because the skin has aged overnight, but because dehydrated tissue cannot maintain the smoothness and volume it once possessed. The eyes lose their brightness. The complexion becomes dull and uneven. The entire face carries a tired, lifeless expression that no expensive cream, cosmetic treatment, or makeup routine can permanently erase. But the effects extend far beyond appearance. Water is essential for nearly every chemical reaction that keeps the body functioning efficiently. When hydration drops, blood circulation becomes less effective, nutrients travel more slowly, and waste products remain longer inside the body. Cortisol levels can rise, increasing physical stress. Mental clarity begins to fade. Concentration weakens. Headaches become more frequent. Your eyes become bloodshot. Your mood becomes unstable. And even the smallest tasks require greater effort. You may think you are simply exhausted, when in reality, your body is desperately asking for the one thing it cannot produce on its own. The ancient Stoics understood that self-mastery began with mastering daily habits. Living beneath the Mediterranean sun, they recognized that caring for the body was not vanity, but responsibility. Seneca frequently taught that discipline begins with what we allow into our lives, because every choice eventually shapes our character. What enters the body influences the mind, and a clear mind cannot exist inside a neglected body. Today, many people reach for coffee the moment they feel tired. They choose energy drinks to stay awake, alcohol to escape stress, or sugary beverages to satisfy temporary cravings. Water becomes an afterthought, something consumed only when thirst becomes impossible to ignore. Yet thirst is often the body's final warning, not its first. This is not a harmless habit. It is a slow, silent act of self-neglect repeated every single day. So before you search for another shortcut to better health or a more youthful appearance, begin with the simplest habit imaginable. Drink water tonight before you sleep. Drink water tomorrow morning before your coffee, before your phone, before anything else. Because you cannot think clearly, perform at your highest level, or look truly alive while your body is running on empty. Silent destroyer number 5. Chronic negativity and the face it builds. There is a reason that some people walk into a room and the entire energy shifts. They seem lighter, more alive, more attractive, not in any superficial sense, but in a way that you feel before you can name it. And there is a reason that others walk in and the air seems to thicken. Something becomes heavier, and despite having objectively similar features, they simply don't carry the same magnetic quality. The difference in most cases is the emotional life they have been living for years. Your face is a record. It is a living document of your emotional history. When you spend years, decades, cycling through chronic negativity, resentment, envy, bitterness, self-pity, complaint, the muscles of your face adapt to those expressions. The pathways of emotion become grooves, then channels, then permanent features. The corners of the mouth descend, the brow furrows, the eyes lose their warmth, the jaw clenches with tension that never fully releases. But there is something even more profound happening beneath the surface. Negative emotional states trigger chronic inflammation, and inflammation, as we have touched on before, is the biological engine of visible aging. It attacks the skin. It disrupts the gut, which is directly linked to the clarity of your complexion. It dysregulates sleep, which we've already covered. It elevates cortisol, which destroys collagen. Negativity is not just a mental state. It is a physical environment you live inside of, and your body pays the rent. The Stoics were not naive optimists. Marcus Aurelius didn't pretend the world was beautiful when it was brutal, but he made a radical choice that changed everything he was and everything he projected. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Not the quality of your circumstances, not the behavior of other people, not the news, not the economy. The quality of your thoughts." This is the Stoic practice of premeditatio, malorum in reverse, not dwelling on what could go wrong, but actively, deliberately choosing the thought that serves your life. Because every thought you habitually think is quietly sculpting your face. The question is, what are you building? Silent destroyer number 6. Sedentary living, the slow wilting of the human form. The human body was never designed for the lifestyle that has become normal today. It was not built to spend 8 or 10 hours confined to a desk, staring at glowing screens, moving only enough to reach a keyboard or a phone. It was not created for endless commutes in a car, lunch breaks spent sitting, or evenings disappearing into a couch while another episode plays in the background. The human body was built for movement, challenge, and purposeful activity. Yet modern life asks it to remain still for most of the day, and the consequences eventually become impossible to hide. When a body designed for constant movement is forced into long periods of inactivity, it slowly begins to deteriorate. Muscle mass gradually declines, reducing the natural support that keeps your body upright and strong. As those muscles weaken, posture collapses. The shoulders round forward, the chest closes, and the spine loses its healthy alignment. Over time, even the face begins to change. A weak neck and poor posture soften the jawline, reduce facial definition, and create an appearance of fatigue that has little to do with age. The damage continues beneath the surface. Physical inactivity slows blood circulation, preventing oxygen and essential nutrients from reaching the skin as efficiently as they should. Without proper circulation, the complexion loses its healthy glow. The skin appears dull, pale, and lifeless, while the eyes lose the brightness that naturally accompanies a healthy body. No skincare product can fully replace what healthy blood flow provides every single day. A sedentary lifestyle also traps stress inside the body. Movement is one of nature's most effective ways of regulating cortisol and releasing built-up tension. Every walk, every workout, and every stretch tells the nervous system that the danger has passed. But when stress has no physical outlet, it accumulates. Day after day, the body remains locked in a low-level state of tension that gradually affects both physical health and appearance. The face tightens, energy declines, and exhaustion becomes your default expression. The Stoics understood this long before modern science explained it. Marcus Aurelius trained as both a soldier and a wrestler, knowing that physical strength supported mental discipline. Cato the Elder willingly embraced physical hardship, not to punish himself, but to strengthen his character through consistent practice. They believed the body was the instrument through which the mind expressed its highest virtues, and a neglected instrument could never perform at its full potential. You do not need to become an elite athlete or spend hours inside a gym, but you must move with purpose every single day. Walk, stretch, lift, climb, or simply refuse to let comfort become your permanent condition. Because the body you live in is a reflection of the habits you repeat, and every step you take is an investment in the strength, confidence and vitality the world will see tomorrow. Silent destroyer number 7, digital, overconsumption and the hollowing of the eyes. There is something that is happening to your eyes right now, something that has been happening for years, quietly, without your awareness. The light behind them is dimming. There is a quality that the most compelling human beings possess, in their eyes, specifically, that cannot be manufactured by any product or procedure. It is a brightness, a depth, a presence, something that signals to everyone who looks at you. There is someone awake inside this body, and nothing extinguishes that light faster than chronic digital overconsumption. Here is what happens physiologically. Hours of screen exposure bombard the eyes with blue light, causing oxidative stress to the retinal cells. The eyes dry out, redden, and lose their clarity. The sclera, the white of the eye, develops subtle discoloration. The constant microfocus required for screen use creates a tension around the eyes that, over years, contributes to premature lines, drooping, and a permanently strained expression. But the deeper destruction is neurological and psychological. Chronic social media consumption rewires the brain's dopamine system. You become habituated to rapid, shallow stimulation. And when the brain is no longer capable of sustained, deep engagement, when it has been trained to crave the next notification, the next scroll, the next piece of novelty, it loses something that is visible in the face. That stillness, that depth, that quality of presence that makes someone magnetic. Seneca wrote, in a letter that has survived 2,000 years, "Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with those who will make a better man of you." He could not have imagined the smartphone, but he perfectly described the antidote to it. The Stoics practiced silence. They practiced solitude. They practiced the kind of deep, sustained engagement with ideas and reality. That is the opposite of the endless scroll. And the result was not just mental clarity. It was a quality of presence, a depth in the eyes, a stillness in the face that modern people are rapidly losing. Put down the phone, not just occasionally, as a practice, as a discipline, as an act of Stoic self-respect. Your eyes will speak louder than anything else about you. Make sure they are still saying something worth hearing. Silent destroyer number 8. Poor nutrition and the body's silent collapse. You have heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." It is so common, so repeated, that it has lost all meaning. It slides off the brain without leaving a mark. But I want you to hear it differently today. Not as a cliché, as a biological fact with visible consequences. Your skin, the largest organ in your body, is regenerated approximately every 27 days. Every cell in your skin's outermost layer is replaced, completely, roughly once a month. The question is, what are you building the new skin with? If your diet is built primarily on processed foods, refined sugars, inflammatory oils, fast food, alcohol, and empty calories, then the new skin being constructed every 27 days is being built from inferior materials. The result is a complexion that is simultaneously dull and inflamed, prone to breakouts, slow to heal, lacking the luminosity that healthy, well-nourished skin carries. Beyond skin, chronic poor nutrition depletes the body of the vitamins and minerals that maintain the structural integrity of the face. Vitamin C, essential for collagen production. Zinc, critical for wound healing and skin clarity. Omega-3 fatty acids, the building blocks of healthy cellular membranes. Iron, which maintains the oxygenation that gives your face color and life. Deficiencies in these nutrients don't announce themselves dramatically. They whisper. They manifest as subtle dullness, slow recovery, premature lines, hair that thins, nails that break, eyes that lose their brightness. The Stoics placed profound importance on the discipline of what they consumed. Epictetus taught that the philosopher must be master of appetite, not its slave. Not because pleasure is evil, but because enslavement to appetite is a form of surrender. And the modern food environment is designed, engineered, specifically to make you its slave. The Stoic response is not perfection. It is not a rigid, joyless dietary regime. It is the deliberate, conscious choice to feed your body as though you respect it, as though you understand that the matter you put inside yourself becomes the matter you present to the world. Ask yourself honestly, if your body is a temple, what are you building it with? Silent destroyer number 9, the suppression of authentic emotion. This one is subtle. This one is the hardest to see. And for many of you, this one will land the deepest. There is a belief that has quietly infected modern culture, particularly among people who consider themselves strong, disciplined, or rational. And the belief goes like this: the best way to handle difficult emotions is to not feel them, to push them down, to project a controlled, unaffected exterior, while the storm rages unacknowledged inside. This is not strength. This is not Stoicism, and it is quietly destroying your appearance. True Stoicism, the philosophy as Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca actually practiced it, is not the suppression of emotion. It is the disciplined processing of emotion. It is feeling fully, acknowledging completely, and then consciously choosing how to respond. It is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and being informed by them. When emotions are chronically suppressed rather than processed, the body becomes the storage container for everything the mind refuses to face. The jaw clenches, habitually, chronically, until the muscles along the jawline become permanently tight, distorting the lower face. The brow furrows in a constant, unconscious expression of resistance. The eyes grow guarded, closed, unreachable. The shoulders rise toward the ears and never fully descend. The body holds what the mind won't. And chronic muscular tension, sustained over years, literally reshapes the face. It is not metaphor, it is biology. The muscles you habitually use, or habitually brace, build the structure of your visible self. Beyond muscle, emotional suppression fuels chronic psychological stress, which elevates cortisol, which destroys collagen, which accelerates inflammation, which, as this entire video has demonstrated, is the engine of visible decline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was not telling you to ignore what is hard. He was telling you to face it directly, to walk through it rather than around it. Because what you run from follows you, and what you suppress, your body expresses in the only language it knows. Feel what you feel. Process it. Let it move through you and out of you. Because the face that has nothing to hide is the most magnetic face in any room. Silent destroyer number 10. The loss of purpose and the face of a life unlived. And now we arrive at the final, deepest, most profound destroyer on this list. The one that underlies everything else. The one that the Stoics placed above all others in their philosophy. The loss of purpose. Here is something that every person who has spent time with the elderly will recognize. There are people who reach their 70s, their 80s, and they are alive. Not just biologically functional, alive. There is a fire in their eyes, a spring in their step, a sharpness in their gaze that cuts through the room like sunlight. And there are others the same age, sometimes younger, who have already begun to fade. Not because of disease or deprivation, but because something inside them gave up. Because they stopped pursuing something that mattered. Because they lost the conviction that their presence in the world had meaning. Purpose is not just a philosophical luxury. It is a physiological necessity. Research in the field of psychoneuroimmunology, the study of the connection between the mind and the immune system, has demonstrated that people with strong senses of purpose have measurably lower levels of chronic inflammation, lower cortisol, better sleep, stronger immune response, and significantly better maintenance of physical vitality as they age. Purpose is anti-aging medicine, not in a bottle. In the life you choose to live. The Stoics understood this with absolute clarity. Marcus Aurelius was emperor, philosopher, soldier, father, widower, grieving parent. He lived every dimension of the human experience. And through all of it he returned day after day to a single question. What is the most important thing I can do today in service of the greater good? That question was his anchor, his compass, his source of the vitality that allowed him to carry one of history's heaviest crowns without being crushed. When you know why you are here, when you have something that you are building, something that demands your full presence, something that you would rise early for and stay up late for because it matters, because it is yours, everything changes. You walk differently. You carry yourself differently. Your eyes change. There is a quality of aliveness that settles into your entire bearing, an attraction that has nothing to do with symmetry or fashion, or the shape of your jaw. It is the attraction of a life being fully lived. And when you lose it, when you drift into a life of consumption without creation, of comfort without challenge, of days that pass without meaning, the body reflects that loss too. The light leaves the eyes, the posture collapses, the vitality drains, and what remains is the appearance of a person who has, somewhere along the way, quietly surrendered. The Stoics would call this the greatest tragedy, not death, not failure, but the slow, silent abandonment of the self. Don't let it be your story. Let's step back. Let's see what we've built together in this conversation. We began with something that might have seemed like a video about appearance, about looking better, about superficial aesthetics. But what we have actually been discussing in every single one of these 10 silent destroyers is something far more profound. We have been discussing the integrity of a life well lived. Anxiety, sleep deprivation, poor posture, dehydration, chronic negativity, sedentary living, digital overconsumption, poor nutrition, emotional suppression, the loss of purpose. These are not separate problems with separate solutions. They are 10 windows into the same room, and in that room is the question that every human being, across every culture and every century, has been forced to face. How do I live? The Stoics answered this question with 4 foundational virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom, to understand what truly matters and what does not. Justice, to treat yourself and others with the integrity you know is right. Courage, to face the difficult truths, make the hard changes, resist the easy escapes. And temperance, to master what you consume, what you do, what you think, what you feel. These 4 virtues, practiced daily, not perfectly, but sincerely, produce something extraordinary. They produce a human being who is healthy, vital, present, and unmistakably alive. A person whose appearance radiates the quality of the life they are living, because beauty in the Stoic sense was never about the surface. It was always about the depth. So here is your challenge. Not 10 challenges. 1. Before you go to sleep tonight, take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write down the one silent destroyer from today's list that you know, in your gut, has been working against you the longest. Just one. And then write one thing you will do differently tomorrow. Not a revolution, not a complete life overhaul. One thing, one choice, one small act of Stoic self-mastery. Because that is how it begins. Not in a moment of dramatic transformation, but in a quiet, private, sincere commitment to become the person you already know you are capable of being. Marcus Aurelius didn't become a philosopher-emperor overnight. He practiced. Every morning, every evening, in the pages of what would become the Meditations, a journal, written not for publication, but for survival, for the daily work of becoming. That work is available to you, right now, today. The Stoics did not promise you an easy path. They promised you a worthy one. They promised that if you master your mind, your habits, your inner world, the outer world, including the face you show it, including the life you live in it, will follow. And that is a promise that 2,000 years of human wisdom has confirmed. Now it is your turn to confirm it for yourself. If this video has shifted something in you, if it has sparked a thought, challenged a habit, or reminded you of who you are trying to become, then do something with that fire before it fades. Hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it tells us that this kind of deep, honest content is worth continuing. Leave a comment below. Tell us, which of the 10 silent destroyers resonated with you most? Which one have you been fighting without knowing it had a name? And if you know someone, a friend, a brother, a sister, someone who is quietly fading and doesn't know why, share this video with them. Because sometimes the most important thing we can do for the people we love is simply show them what they cannot yet see. Subscribe to Wisdom of the Stoics if you haven't already. Every week, we go deeper into the ancient wisdom that this world, louder, faster, and more distracted than ever before, needs more than anything else. Before you go, I want to leave you with one last thought from Marcus Aurelius. 6 words that have lived in my mind since the first time I read them. 6 words that I believe, if truly understood, have the power to change everything. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing. Begin. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when you feel ready. Now, you are already wiser than you were 25 minutes ago. Use it." We'll see you in the next one.